Hey, what's up? I got a really cool theory slash songwriting lesson exercise for you. What I want to do is I want to show you the chords of a key. Now, what a key is it's a scale, and the scale is like the DNA or like the makeup of all the chords that fit into the key. So in other words, if I took a scale, the C major scale, which happens to be all the natural notes, meaning there's no sharps or flats, meaning it's literally the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. And it starts over again on C, it keeps going, right? So we have the C major scale. Each one of those notes is the root to a major or a minor chord or a 7 chord that fit into that key. So in other words, this pool of notes can be brought together to form chords, but then that same pool of notes are used for playing melodies over that pool of notes. So no matter what in the key, those 7 notes are combining in all these different ways to give us chords that sound good together, or to give us melodies to play over those chords that sound good together. So what I want to do is I'm going to show you there's 7 notes of the scale, which means there's 7 chords of the scale. The 7th chord, each chord has a name. The 1 chord, the 2 chord, the 3 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord, the 6 chord, and the 7 chord. Now, I'm going to show you the first 6 because those are the ones in pop music and rock music. Those are the ones that are used first, okay? So let's just learn the chords of the key of C major. The first chord is called the 1 chord, and it's a C major chord. But if you wanted, you could also play what's called the C major 7 chord, just if you wanted, which with this open chord, you could just take your first finger off. Or you can play them together. Embellishing and stuff. So the 1 chord is C major. The 2 chord is always a whole step higher, and it's always a minor chord. So a whole step from C is called D, the next letter in the alphabet, and it's a D minor chord. So the 2 chord is a D minor chord. You can play it as a bar chord. So we have the 1 chord C major, or C major 7, your choice. The 2 chord is D minor, or we could also play a D minor 7. The 3 chord is a whole step up from the 2 chord, and it's a minor or a minor 7 as well, depending on what sound you like. So we have E minor is the 3 chord. E minor 7 to take my ring finger off. Or I could play a minor 7 bar chord or a minor bar chord, root on the A string one. Or up to the double dots here. So here are the chords so far. C major, D minor, E minor. Okay, now we're at the 4 chord. It's the next major chord. So just to let you know, in music, in a major key, the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord are the only major chords in the key. And maybe you've heard that term before, 1, 4, 5. So the 4 chord of C major is F. And you can also go like this. I could stick my hand out and go up from C is the 1, C, D, E, F. F is the 4, and then G is going to be the 5. But so we have an F chord as the 4 chord. So F chord is the 4 chord. And then the 5 chord is the only dominant chord in the key. It's a G7 chord. So we could play a G7 open chord, or we could play a G7 bar chord, a G7 bar chord, or even like a G9 chord. Those all serve as the 5 chord. And so here's what we have so far in the key of C major. C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G7, and we have one chord left, and that's A minor or A minor 7. If you're experienced with bar chords, I think you need to do this with bar chords and start with the root on the E string and go all the way up, climb up the scale, and root on the A string. So let me show you what that would look like. So a C major bar chord looks like that, and that's the 1 chord. The D minor bar chord, up a whole step to the E minor bar chord, half step to F major. The 3 to the 4 is always a half step. And then G7 we're going to play for the 5 chord. And then we're going to go all the way up to the minor, A minor. Now let's do it with the root on the E string. So we're going to have to climb backwards as we do it. So C major starts on the 8th fret, C major, D minor, E minor, half step to F major. Let's go down to G major on the 3rd fret here, and then A minor, and that's it. But it always is going to feel complete if you go 5 to 1. Hear that? Ah, that's a little theory. 5 has the strongest resolution back to the 1. That was totally improvised, just with the chords of the key. Okay, so what you want to do is you can put these, you don't even have to start with the C chord when you're writing a progression. These chords are part of a family that always go good together, so you can experiment and see what you can come up with. Listen to this. I'm going to play the 1 chord, the 2 chord, the 3 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord. Just stay right there. 5 chord. Listen to that. It sounds very familiar. Okay, how about this? We could go the 6 to the 2, which would be E minor to A minor. So work on that. Those are the chords of a major key. You're going to have to, when you, I picked C because there's no sharps or flats, but as we shift into other keys, which we will be exploring that, you're going to need to, know a little more knowledge of the sharps and flats, but really it's just all the same concept. The 1 to the 2 is a whole step, the 2 to the 3 is a whole step, the 3 to the 4 is a half step, the 4 to the 5 is a whole step, the 5 to the 6 is a whole step, the 6 to the 7 is a whole step, and then the 7 to the 1, which we didn't even do the 7 yet, is the other half step. So basically the 3 to the 4 is the half step. All the others that we're doing, 1 through 6 are whole steps. And then also the 1, the 4, and the 5 chords are the major chords, with the 5 being the dominant 7 blues sounding chord. All right? But that's all gravy on top of everything we just did. So throw those chords together. I'm interested to hear how that works out for you. All right?